Hi, I'm Gabriel, and this is Black Force Comics Weekly Review, Episode 31. That's right, boys and girls, it's almost been a year. This is going to be our 9-month episode. Streamers, balloons, all that good stuff. It's exciting news. Almost a year of doing this, talking to you, talking to me, talking to each other. So, we're going to talk about last week's comics, this week's coming comics, as well as some news that happened, but not a lot, because you know what, I really just had a hard time getting into news this week, so please forgive me. Alright, so let's get started with last week's comics. First up, Captain America, issue number 7. Captain America, issue number 7, the 75th anniversary issue of Captain America. Now, this past year has seen a lot of anniversaries in the quarter range, like you had Deadpool with his 25th, and now you have Captain America with his 75th anniversary. Now this issue ties into right now what they're having with the Hill, what is it called? Standoff on Pleasant Hill. This is a tie-in to Standoff on Pleasant Hill. It has Sam Wilson, Captain America, meeting up with Bucky Barnes on Pleasant Hill, on Pleasant Hill, and they're going to look for the original Steve Rogers Captain America, who is stuck there on Pleasant Hill because of Maria Hill. And so they go there, they get together, they fight together, they talk about old times. Sam Wilson's kind of narrating the whole thing in his mind, saying, I remember we used to, at first when they fight together, it's kind of like they're disjointed, they're not fighting together, and then they have to go somewhere else for the second round of fighting. And he says they get into the groove of things, they start helping each other out, watching each other's back, tossing the shield back and forth. It's a pretty cool issue. And then finally, in one of the last parts, because remember, one of the Infinity Cubes is sentient, is a child, and she kind of sees Captain America getting the snot beat out of him by Crossbones, because, you know, Captain America an old man. And so Captain America's having this whole, you know, what do I see before I die kind of episode going on, and he's seeing all of his life transpire, and then suddenly the little girl says, I can make you better. I can make you whole. And so, boom, we have Captain America back to his good old self, beating up Crossbones' face. He's scared because Steve Rogers is back. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Captain America is back in all his Captain America glory. So that's going to be a key issue. So if you have it in your local comic book shop, and if they haven't bumped it up already because they're crazy, get down there and pick it up. Black Force Comics only has like 1 or 2 left because we've been telling people it's a key issue. So pick it up. It's a good one. Alright, next up, Godzilla Oblivion, number 1 from IDW Comics. Now, this is a cool comic. If you like any of the other Godzilla stuff where there's not a lot of words, just more fighting because he's a giant monster and his linguistics really aren't there because he's a monster and doesn't talk. So, this one actually has a story to it. This is based in, it doesn't really specify if it's Japan or where it is, but I'm presuming it's in Japan, and they're making a portal. They're making a Stargate. And they create this Stargate, and they go into it as ill-advised as they are by the scientists. Don't go in there. And, of course, the government's like, oh, we're going in there. We're taking guns. So they went in there, they took guns, and they ended up in the same spots that their portal was made, except it's all just in ruins. So what happened is they entered to another world. It's the same Earth, but in a different dimension. And in this Earth, all the monsters have taken over, devastated the world, and then Godzilla came and put all those monsters in check. And so Godzilla is kind of running a protection racket, if you will, for the Earthlings to keep all the other monsters in check. And so they're like, okay, well, we got to get back to our Stargate and get back to our Earth. And so they're rushing back through, and they get through, but not without bringing someone through with them. I'll show you. King Ghidorah. Yeah, that's right. That big 3-headed dragon dude follows them through their Stargate portal. I'm going to keep calling it a Stargate portal because that's what it is to me. And he follows them through, and so now he's on the current real Earth with them. Well, what are they going to do? Probably go get Godzilla. So that's issue number 1. So it's going to be a cool series. I always like the IDW Godzilla stuff. It's been good. All right, next up, Suiciders, Kings of L.A., issue number 1. And I had told you all about this from Vertigo Comics that put out the Suiciders 6-part miniseries last year, and it was phenomenal. It was my number 1 comic of the year. So Suiciders, Kings of L.A., it's living up to its namesake. It's not passing it per se, but it's living up to it. So what you have here is some children, a brother and a sister, born in the time of LA's big quake, because that's what happened. There was a big earthquake in California, and you have a story of a little girl who's kind of narrating, saying what's happened as they've grown up in this earthquake LA area. How the struggles are real, how the stuff that's gone on with their life since the earthquake, and they're not connected with the regular the United States, and things are just very drastic for them. And so they live in this hellish world, and they're trying to make do. All right, next up, Fight Club 2, issue number 10 by Chuck. You know who he is. He's the guy who originally wrote Fight Club. And so this is the final issue for the Fight Club 2. And it wasn't so much that this was one of my favorite top 5 comics of the week, but it was like, what the flip, Skip, are you doing? He literally started narrating his life into the comic. That's him. And he's talking with his advisory board about the comic and how they're going to finish it off and what they're going to do and what the fans want him to do. It's because if you remember issue number 9, they were dropping bombs. They were literally eradicating the world. Next up, Darth Vader, issue number 18 for Marvel Comics. This one was a really great issue. I've told y'all before, I've been really enjoying all the Star Wars series. Darth Vader being my favorite one, right next to Lando, which was a short 5-part series. Lando was really good, tore at the heartstrings. Darth Vader is just a really well-written dynamic of Vader and who he is as a character, and it makes you fall in love with his villainy. Really, he's an amazing character. So in this issue, he's helping a senator from a planet, and the planet's being overrun, and so she's saying, "Oh, Vader, do this for me, fight these rebels that are here." And he's like, okay, and he takes 2 of his, I guess they're kind of like Padawans, they're pseudo-Jedi. So the mayor of the planet, "Yeah, sure, I'll go help," but it turns out the mayor of the planet is trying to backstab him. And he knows, and he figures out, but you don't mess with Vader. And so he goes, and then there's all these rebels just come in to attack Vader, and he tells his 2 robots, go wake them up. And so the robots, they go wake up all the robots from Attack of the Clones, not from Attack of the Clones, but all the robots. They wake up a whole bunch of them that were hidden on Vader's ship, and they come down and just clear out all those rebels, just dead rebels everywhere. It's amazing. And then as they're going back to the planet or whatever, and she's telling him, "Oh, I'm not sure what happened. Well, let's do this over here." And so Vader's going to do something, and he's taking these 2 pseudo-Jedis with him. And then it turns out, as they're crossing a bridge, what is it with bridges? As they're crossing a bridge, those 2 pseudo-Jedis turn on Vader. They're counting down in the back behind Vader. 3, 2, 1. And then they go to attack him, and Vader's Vader. He just has his lightsaber out like that, and he turns around, blocks them. It's pretty amazing. Vader's Vader. People keep thinking they can backstab Vader. You can't. He sees it already. He knows. He is the Sorcerer Supreme. Vader. Alright, so that's that. Issue number 18. Check it out. It's a good issue. Final issue for our kids comic this week is going to be Ultimate Spider-Man Web Warriors, issue number 1 for the Contest of Champions. This one is a little different. This one is actually continuity into their Marvel XD Disney series. So this one ties right into it. This is actually from the cartoon itself. And this, in my opinion, is a much better Contest of Champions than the Contest of Champions comic that's currently out. It just explains it better. You know what? It's more of a lay terms for me. It makes my dumb brain have to work less. So, if you want to find out what Contest of Champions is out without reading this complex, convoluted story, check out this one. This one, Contest of Champions from Marvel Ultimate Spider-Man Web Warriors. It's a good one. Check it out. Alright, so that concludes last week's comics. Let's talk about the comics coming up this week. There's a whole bunch of good ones coming up this week, and I'll let you know which ones are really awesome that we're going to hit you up with. First one, Army of Darkness, Furious Road, number 2. We talked about number 1 last time. Really looking forward to what happens with Ash and this group of survivors that includes monsters. It's pretty awesome. Batgirl number 50. Black Panther number 1 from Marvel Comics. That's right, Black Panther's returning with his own comic book series. It's going to be an ongoing thing. So if you want to get that, there's going to be a few type of different cover issues that are coming out for that issue number 1. So get out here, check them out, see what's available. It's going to be pretty awesome. Black Panther issue number 1. Also, Blacklist issue number 8's coming out. And for all you Bob's Burgers fans, did you know that there's a comic out for Bob's Burgers? That's right, there's a comic, and it's going on issue number 10. That's almost a year that this comic has been out. Excuse me. That's almost a year that this comic has been out. So get out and check out Bob's Burgers, issue number 10. Also, we have 2 different Doctors coming out. We have the 10th Doctor, issue number 8, and also the 12th Doctor, issue number 4 coming out. And then also, this is a cool one coming out from Marvel Comics. Empress number 1, issue number 1's coming out. So this story is based on a Empress who's married to the douchiest of all kings, who's a mass murdering tyrant type dude. And she wants to get away for the sake of her children. She has 3 kids with the dude, and it's kind of that relationship where if you leave, I'm going to kill you type of deal. She knows she has to do the best for her and her children, so she's trying to get away. That's what this Empress series is about. Sounds really intriguing. I'm really looking forward to reading it. I hope you are too. Empress, issue number 1. Check it out. Marvel Comics. Also, Harley and Suicide Squad April Fool's Special. Harley Quinn always does these one-shots to certain holidays or certain things. Like she did a convention one. She did a road trip one. She did a Valentine's one. So this is going to be another one of those one-shot Harley Quinn deals. It's Harley Quinn and Suicide Squad April Fools, issue number 1. It's also going to have a blank variant cover for all you artists and all you people who like custom art. This is going to have a blank one for that. So here's your blank Harley Quinn. Infinity Entity, issue number 4. And this is going to be the conclusion to Infinity Entity, which has been really good. It's a build-up for Adam Warlock. If you're not familiar with Adam Warlock, Google it. It's worth a Google. He's one of the main characters for the whole Infinity Gauntlet storyline. Marvel and Disney have kind of changed it up for the movies, but Adam Warlock, there really was no Infinity Gauntlet without him. You need him. Not sure how they're going to tie it all in, but they are. Alright, and then we're also going to have Justice League Darkseid War Special number 1. Now this is going to start tying up all of the Darkseid War stuff that's going on. We're going to see Lex Luthor become like a Superman himself. It's been a really just kind of thing. This is with the Batman on the Mobius chair, finding out who Joker really is. Flash as the Death Racer. It's just been really interesting to see all these characters take on a godlike role, and it's just changed who they are in a big way. Also, Midnighter number 11, Ninjak number 14 for Valiant fans. Hopefully they can make up for the end of the Operation Deadside, which was not as much as I expected it to be. Old Man Logan number 4, which has been really good. I've really enjoyed Old Man Logan. It's cool to see Wolverine in this phase like this, and him coming back, living in our current Earth, trying to take out all the villains or do things wrong. It's kind of crazy. Also, Rachel number 41. This is going to be the end issue for Rachel Rising. Scarlet Witch number 5. Spider-Man 2099 number 9. And that's with our guy from the future. Spider-Man Alpha issue number 1. So this is a new storyline for the Spider-Women. It's going to have Spider-Gwen, Silk, and Spider-Woman all together. Also, coming up, issue number 1. This is a big deal. Star Wars. Poe Dameron is having his own short-run series. Issue number 1 for Poe Dameron. First 50 people in the door on Wednesday at Black Forest Comics will receive a special button for Poe Dameron. So come check it out. Special little pin, all yours. First 50 people. Superman, issue number 51. And then also for all you Three Stooges fans, that's right, I said Three Stooges. They're going to have their own comic book series coming out this week. So check that one out. It's going to be pretty awesome. And finally, issue number 153 of everybody's favorite Robert Kirkman series, The Walking Dead. Now, what a segue. That's this coming week's comics. Let's talk about the news. In the news, we just had the final episode of the season for Walking Dead this past Sunday. I don't know if you saw it yet, but you know this show is full of spoilers. Oh my gosh, somebody died. Do we know who it is? No. So is this really a spoiler? No. You know someone was going to die. We don't know who it was, though. We saw Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I was really excited about seeing him as Negan. It was alright. It didn't, make me as wet as I thought it was going to make me. But it was exciting to see him. Yeah, so that's Walking Dead. Someone died. You heard me. Someone died. We don't know who it was. You saw Negan and all his people, the way that they make you think that you're getting away, but they're just playing you, because they played the heck out of Rick and his crew, and it was pretty cool to see that whole thing go down. I think Rick, as a former police officer, that he would have had this training to recognize some things that were going on. You should have hightailed it out of there a long time ago, man, when they first made you turn around the first time. But, you know, he was trying to take care of his family. Maggie's having trouble. So they did what they had to do. That's another reason why we don't know for sure if it was Glenn that died, that Negan beat to death. Because in the comic book, as Negan is beating Glenn to death, if you didn't know, in the comics, Negan beats Glenn to death. Glenn starts yelling out, Maggie, as he's being beaten to death. You didn't hear that from this person that was getting beaten. You didn't really hear anything. So my guess is, if they were smart, they would have offed Abraham, because Abraham's already dead in the comics, and Abraham just did something in the TV series that people frowned upon, I guess, but he was doing what made him happy, and he did something bad to make himself happy, and he's starting to get to this point of bliss. So, if I was a director, I would have went with Abraham. It might be Abraham that killed. Time will tell. Matter of fact, 5 months. That's exactly what it's going to take to tell. All right, up next, Preacher from Garth Ennis, the comic book series. It is coming to AMC as a TV show. So if you haven't seen the previews for it yet, I encourage you to get on YouTube and check out the trailer previews for Preacher. It's a pretty cool series about a preacher that starts chasing down demons and other whatnot, working with a immortal guy. So it's pretty cool, pretty awesome movie to check out, or show that's going to become worth checking out. Also, in the news, April is National Autism Awareness Month. You can pick up a blue light bulb from most Home Depots, Walmarts, H-E-Bs, wherever you're by, and you'll see a SKU on their little tags there. It says to support autism. You can pick up a blue light bulb, put it on your porch, support autism by having a blue porch light this month, in the month of April. We're putting some out today in Black Force Comics. So do that. It's a cool cause to support. And that about wraps it up for news this week. Let us know what you're reading. Let us know what you want to talk about, and we'll talk to you next week.